Hey, this is Nick Wheeler from the All-American Rejects, and you are listening to Verbal
But
Shenanigans.
our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really. Evil shenanigans.
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome on back to the Verbal Shenanigans podcast. Mike, I feel like I'm almost afraid to ask because
What?
you said you had a follow-up to last week, and I was like,
Yeah.
all right, cool. What the hell does this mean? And then we weren't going to cast like 20 minutes ago. We were going to save it for tomorrow. Then I asked, is that the reason you don't want to cast? Because you said you had a second follow-up.
I do.
But then a little energy awoke in you, I think, and you're like, no, what? We should cast it. I'm like, okay. So we are back here. We're back on our originally scheduled time. Mike, I'm afraid to ask, but what happened to you?
Well, for all the listeners of last week, Scott put me through a grotesque kind of game here where
What do you mean? It had cute animals in it, man.
and a ton of cute animals, but you basically told me I had to kill off all except one.
Yeah,
And in the end, you were mocking me for not keeping some of the animals that I took the World War II dog that
I was gonna say it had such a clear plot. Why don't you explain the plot to everybody?
Yeah, so Scott made a bracket of animals that had like historical value, had a sob story, and like an amazing nature courage story, if you will. And every single round, it would be, all right, here's the two animals. Burlu, you're killing one of them. So out of 16, I had to kill 15 to quote unquote bring one on a raft and save it from
Because it was
extinction.
the end of times, because we're gonna get bombed by Iran. You think you were a god, so you have naturally have Noah's Ark situation when the world is ending, but you're poor, so you only had Noah's raft, so you only got to choose one animal. It makes perfect sense in my head.
Well, now I can't go to the island because it was probably Cuba, and now we're pretty much trying to take over that island right now. So I don't even think I could bring the dog to that one right now.
But yeah, it was a very heart-filled game. It wasn't dark at all.
Yes, but you were mocking me like, oh, I can't believe you didn't take the pig. I can't believe you didn't take the gorilla and stuff like that. And this week, just by chance, it proved my love of animals and that you're the disgusting one for making the game, and I am not a bad person, Scott Brennan.
Okay. I disagree, but go ahead.
All right. So story one is, so I'm coming back from the doctor's office. I'm going back home, and we got to go through a bunch of off-roads to get to my household. And lo and behold, as I am driving, what do I see in the road on the other side of me but a giant box turtle
I was
trying
gonna
to cross the road?
I was going to guess turtle because I thought it was going to be either a turtle, because it couldn't have been a giraffe like you punched in the neck so many times.
I didn't punch it. I said theoretically, if I had to survive with the one animal,
Theoretically, you would punch a giraffe in the neck. You're a sick
Yes.
human being. Yes. Okay.
I would only do it in defense. Okay.
So if he was whirling his neck at you in attack, you would employ the.
If he's just like chilling, let me feed it leaves, I'd be like, okay, good, giraffe. If like the giraffe didn't understand the whole raft situation, was scared of water and like trying to jump off or kill both of us and all, I'd take a shot to the neck and
You'll give him
keep it abroad.
the old Burlu giraffe neck punch. Works every time.
Old giraffe puncher. But so I turned around. This road is very windy, very much speed and no shoulders whatsoever. But I made the conscious choice. I turned around, went up to the turtle, I put on my emergencies to make sure everything was fine.
Did you
It's all
introduce
coming-
yourself?
What's up?
Did you introduce yourself?
I did not and I didn't have time.
Okay.
There was danger abroad. I put
Hey, Mr. Turtle, I'm Mike. You need to
There
get out of
was-
the road.
Yeah. So there was a person that was driving on the road and had to stop behind me and all, but I went into the middle of the road, picked up the turtle, put all his legs and feet and head into the shell, but that's fine.
Oh, I thought for a second you were saying you put all his legs and feet into his shell for him.
You gotta be safe, Mr. Turtle. Get in your home.
Jamming his poor leg into the socket.
Wait, let me get a stick so you're safe. And I went to just crossed into the street, put it in the grass. It was all safe. I saw
That's
the person
karma
behind
for-
me.
Good karma for killing off a 170-year-old turtle.
I didn't kill it off. That was a fictional game, but I do not hate turtles, even though you kind of mock me for not accepting the 198-year-old turtle. The guy behind me, I screamed at him. It was a turtle, and went back in my car. I'm not even sure if he heard me or understood or cared. But needless to say, I forewarned him. Turtle situation resolved.
we got a turtle stitch up ahead.
Break one now. We got turtle stitching on the back roads here. Copy
Yeah,
over.
but you don't like turtles. You're an anti-turtite, man.
No, I had a turtle.
You're an
when I was a kid.
anti-turtite. Yeah, what did he do to make you hate them?
I don't hate them. I had
You hate turtles.
I
You don't
think
remember that
his-
night you got bombed and you were telling me like, man, I got to tell you something. I'm like, what? You're like, I got to tell you something, man. I hate turtles. I hate them, and I hate every one of them, and I wish they would be obliterated from this earth.
No, I had a snapper turtle that we kept at the neighbor's house. I think it was named Gonzo. We held on to it for a few months, and then when the neighbor moved away, we sent him back into the river.
We're just gonna skip over that sentence or two. We're just gonna pretend you didn't just say out of your mouth that you had a snapping turtle named Gonzo that you kept at the neighbor's house.
Yeah, that's the way it works and all. It's like when I told you I had a pet squirrel. I just go on to the next subject before you try to stop me.
Did you just forget all these years that you had a pet turtle named Gonzo? Because there's definitely been a lot of shows we've talked about a lot less entertaining things that we probably could have used something, and you had this turtle sitting in your back pocket.
Well, he's a snapping turtle. I couldn't put him in my pocket, but no, I think it popped in my head. I'm like, ooh, memory. Let me share.
Why did you have a snapping turtle, nonetheless?
Well, when we lived in South Brunswick, we were literally half a block away from a river where we would fish, catch like sunnies and catfish and stuff like that. And there were some turtles in the river. And like one day my friend caught one. He's like, I'm keeping it. And I think his little brother did. And then as I was like down, I'm like, man, I got no turtle. A couple weeks later, I saw one on the side. I'm like, all right, let me try to fish it out. Lo and behold, Gonzo came part of the family.
No, I'm gonna go on a limb and think that your friends probably had a regular turtle, and you were probably like, "I'll take the snapping one home." What do you mean?
Trying to give me kissy? That's
what do you
why
mean you had a snapping turtle?
No, they were all like, I don't like. We guessed they were snapping turtles and all that. I mean, there was a lot of turtles in the lake, but
what did you feed this Gonzo beast?
I mean, we would feed it just like veggies and stuff like that, leaves and stuff.
Okay, and why did it end up at the neighbor's house?
Well, we just kept the three together. So they had like a little, like what used to be like a garden. They had like a little, like mini little wire fence. So we kept them in there and fed them. And
you had a
like
little
that.
turtle commune when you were.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're just community family.
We're just
unlike what you described to me as an anti-turtite.
You are an anti-turtite.
I am not anti-turtite.
All right. Well,
or else I would not accept Gonzo into
what
my
happened
world.
to Gonzo?
Again, the neighbor was moving away, and we all decided, let's let them all go back into the river and live their lives in the wild.
Did you have like a ceremony or anything, like to say your last goodbye to Gonzo?
We sung or anything. I think it was
you
just
try
kind
to
of
kiss the snapping turtle before he left?
I did not. That would not be the most correct way to end our relationship. I just sent him off and said, goodbye, Gonzo. We'll miss you. And that was the end of Gonzo in my life, but he was fruitful in my life.
Do I even ask you, were there any other pets that you're not telling us about? Or do I just wait till you like randomly get these things like, oh, I had a baby tiger for a month?
I think it's just better off when the memory pops up. I just go, hey, did I ever tell you? And you get mad at me.
Okay. We're just going to gloss over Turtle Gonzo in the backyard turtle commune. But okay, continue your story, Mike.
All right. So I had the story ready podcast tonight. Had to go out and get some stuff from the store. I come back, and there was a stray kitty in the yard, which if you check your phone, you might get some pictures coming your way and video and stuff like that.
Oh, nice orange cat. Looks like you're feeding it something. You're feeding it. Is that now? It looks like you're feeding it chicken or something like that. Is
tuna.
That's not like the same rotten meat you got for your father for Christmas. Is it? No. Okay.
Again, it just wasn't good. It wasn't rotten. He just didn't think it was that good. There's a difference.
Again, I said it when we brought that back up. A story we just gloss over that you got your dad rotten meat for Christmas.
Oh, no, that, Mikey. But that voice will come back in a minute.
Okay.
But so like I came home, there was some neighbors walking their dogs, and like the cat was walking through my yard, and I decided, it's a stray cat. Maybe it's hungry. So I had some old snacks from my old cat Stubby. So I went out, shook it, started meowing, coming over to me, started feeding it some snacks.
All right.
He seemed a little skinny. So I'm like, okay, you still hungry? So I go back in, I get some tuna, and he very much enjoyed that, ate that all up. And like the conundrum of whether I was recording tonight was the cat was sticking by me, and it was like rubbing up against my leg. I sat down on the porch, and the cat was sitting by me, rubbing against me. So there's a moment here where I'm like, all right, do I take the cat in? And there's the conundrum of the dogs, how they would react to the cat. And B, though the wife loved our former cat, she's allergic to cats. So that's a kind of a thing. Oh, and C, like all the stuff I had with Stubby is kind of gone. I got rid of it just to not have the memories around, so I don't have like a litter box, any regular stuff. So
you don't use his old litter box every once in a while to
no, I'm good. I got a corner over here, so nobody goes in there, and also hopefully the furnace doesn't have to get checked out, and I'll be good.
Gotcha.
But the cat was like rubbing up against me. I'm like, all right, do I have to start making a decision? Do I bring it in? Hence where I'm kind of like, all right, if we record tomorrow, is that fine? But eventually the cat kind of decided didn't want to go in. I'm not sure if it's a scare thing, I think, or if it just prefers being outside, and went about its business, walked into the neighbor's yard, and I was feeding it in the empty neighbor's yard.
Oh, nice. The one that
I have a neighbor now on the other side. The drug house. Yeah, that has a family right now.
Oh,
not the kid who got the internet password to look up dirty sites.
Yeah, so you're just in the abandoned neighbor's house shaking a bag of kitty food.
Yeah, and sitting on the driveway as I'm feeding a cat.
You do have an odd amount of body sightings, as we've been through, and you do have an odd amount of animal encounters that seem to happen to you, like random dogs and cats just like walk into your house. Is that because you have rotten meat spilling out of the freezers?
Again, I would like to reiterate that it was a one-time thing. I tried to get a gift from my dad, and the meat wasn't rotten. Food just wasn't good. There was also like potatoes in there and stuff like that. So it wasn't all rotten meat, as you put it.
Just a little bit of rotten meat. Yeah, you do have a strange amount of animals that seem to interact with you. or you interact.
Things gravitate to me. Interesting things love to gravitate to me. What can I tell you?
Yes, interesting things. Real quick before we get to, I want to talk about your your dad song thingy that you mentioned to me the other day. Real quick, we this week we won a little podcast of the week thing on a site called Pod Radar.
Woo!
And the site's actually proving to be pretty cool because it's kind of like a community of podcasts, and there's ways to cross promote and whatnot. And so yeah, we won first place. Okay, we got the votes. So Mike, like, which prize did you pick from the catalog they sent us?
I went with the trip to Acapulco. I feel like
I was thinking about that one, man.
Yeah,
I was thinking about that one.
It's amazing how Pod Radar teamed up with the Price is Right to have these prizes ready and available. So I think this is the perfect time to travel. And hopefully I get on a plane that doesn't require gas. I need one of those electric planes, so it's not that expensive getting back. But I'm looking forward to my trip.
Yeah, that's not bad just for getting 32 votes. I went with the submarine. I chose the submarine. I thought it'd be a good way to travel the world, right? No traffic. Okay.
You got the lake right by you, so it's just perfect to just park right outside the yard.
Yeah, I went with the submarine, and I thought it would be a good way to start exposing myself to the ocean at night and things like that. And
well, you do that already, and all. That's why you're not allowed within 50 feet of fish.
I do not expose myself to the ocean at night.
Yeah, you do. You got some tribal thing where, like, once every quarter, you're like, honey, I have to go to the Atlantic Ocean, and you just like take your robe off and you just walk right to it and expose yourself to it and all. It's a journey of nudity and loving the waterways.
So I fish flash.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, you do a little helicopter to celebrate Mother Nature, and then you head back home, and you don't have to worry about it until June.
Hey, belugas, suck it. Oh. So, Mike, we were talking about Pod Radar. It actually inspired me. I came across a podcast that was actually listed on there, and I think these guys are pretty cool, and I think our audience will appreciate it because we have brought on a ton of 90s guests and 90s era things, like kind of when we grew up. So these guys kind of spoke to me a little bit because they're kind of on the same page as us. And the podcast is called A Cartridge and a Quest. So we want to shout out to them over there at Cartridge and a Quest podcast.
Yeah, I mean, if you grew up in the 80s or 90s, that era where we had Saturday morning cartoons and neon windbreakers and absolute necessity of blowing into a game cartridge, this is a show for you.
Yeah, it's I missed that era, man. The 90s, the early 90s was a pretty awesome time. But yeah, the podcast is cool. It's hosted by Average Trav and Foodie Mike C. So they got some interesting names over there, but it's a great cast. They were both born in 85, so they're a year younger than me, damn it. And every week they're hanging out in their basement sanctuary, reliving the old glory days. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I mean, they're not looking at things with rose-colored glasses. They're modern dads now, so they're breaking down the stuff that actually shaped us, from the man curves and questionable fashion to the gritty, dark reality of 90s media. We all kind of survived, you know?
Yeah. So it's unscripted, authentic, and honestly, it's pretty hilarious. It's like hanging out with your best friends in the basement. So that is Card and Cartridge. Head over to cartridgeandquest.com/podcast. Podcast. I don't know why I said that like a Southerner there. Podcast with a lowercase p. So cartridgeandquest.com/podcast with a lowercase p, or just search Cartridge and Quest wherever you get your pods.
Yeah, just check them out, give them a sub, and like they always say, keep it rad in peace, baby.
They don't always say that.
I'm pretty sure they do.
Yeah, so you know, between the submarine and the trip to Acapulco, we'll hopefully be on that site for a long time, because ever since I've won, like, life has gotten pretty pretty easy, man. Pretty easy.
And I don't see any reason why we don't win next month. I mean, I feel, sure, Pod Radar has a large variety of podcasts that want to get their names out there and stuff like that. And I'm sure it's wonderful content, but, we the champs. We like UCLA from like the 60s, where we're going to hold on to this for a decade.
I'm hoping they realize that we programmed it that everyone who voted for us got a virus and would infiltrate the site. So after we win, the site just crashes.
Yeah, I feel they should rename it to Burl Radar just to honor one of the winners of the month.
No, they should not
What?
do that. But yeah, so thank you to everyone who voted. It was kind of cool because for years we tried this other site called Podcast Land, and we would just constantly vote for ourselves and ask people, and we'd always be like first place and right there, and then like by the end of the week someone would just come smash us in the middle of the night.
They would just sniper and just magically like get 50, and then there'd be times where we're like, oh, we see it, and we try to vote it back up, and then magically they have 40 other votes just come in at the last second, and it's very frustrating and all. And now I got the crown, and that's all that matters.
But yeah, it was nice to actually win something. So I guess go check out Pod Radar. It was kind of cool. But all right, before we get to our guest, Mike, we recorded for a special episode that is coming up.
Correct.
The other day, and you kind of there was a game that we played.
Correct.
One of my favorite games that we have ever done. I can say that confidently, but I won't spoil too much. But it involved, at the end of it, you had to do like a performance of some sort.
That is correct.
And I was laughing because your performance kind of came out and reminded me of this accent you do, or I guess you can call it an impression of your dad, or what your wife thinks your dad sounds like. Explain that.
Yeah, the quick story is, easily put, if somebody wants to hear an imitation of my dad, let me do an imitation of my dad. Hey, I'm Mike's dad, Henry Burlew, and all. Scott can adhere to this. He's been on the podcast before. We got similar voices.
I'm a little
laughs.
upset that you called him Henry. You know what his name is.
Pops.
No.
Or Big Wild Hank.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Big Wild Hank. In this
I
universe,
call him the Pops.
No, in this universe, he's Big Wild Hank.
Okay. So, but in any case, so one day my wife is talking about somebody, and she's telling them, yeah, my father-in-law has a really Southern accent, and she just goes on this like stereotypical Southern kind of accent thing, she's like, this is my father. There's my, how are y'all doing here tonight? Something like that. Something that any person who like wants to imitate a hee-haw character or something like that would use as like a Southern accent. And I looked at her and I'm like, well, one, that's not what he sounds like. And two, if you're just going to go this route, you might as well go full on crazy Southern. So I just went, oh, Lordy, this is a Big Wild Hank here. Just in here on my rocking chair back here on the couch, just enjoying that with a sweet tea. Ooh, Lordy. And that just magically became like the quote unquote my dad's imitation, even though it has nowhere in the stratosphere close to how he talks.
I'm just laughing for many reasons. But like the idea of you doing this voice probably well after this conversation, like now it's like part of like your everyday, like when your dad gets brought up, and I'm sure you're like, oh Lordy, wife, what are you talking about?
Goodness gracious, who the hell brought up my name, Big Wild Hank?
I just love that it's like in your vernacular now.
Yeah. That's the way life is, and all. There's times when it's funny, and it's like, well, I can reuse that, so it's going nowhere.
Okay, so then what happened?
So the game ended. We ended the podcast. No spoilers. What's going on?
Absolutely not.
It's going to be a very special podcast coming out. But after our guest left, Scott kind of brought up, he's like, it's kind of funny that you tried out that singing in your dad's voice.
Yep.
And I told him a story. So when I took my dad to a college football game middle of last year, me and the wife had to go run to the store quickly. And my dad pulled up to the house. He called me, hey, where you're at? I'm like, hey, I'm 5 minutes away. If you want, I didn't lock the back door. Why don't you go inside and say hi to the pups? So, done with shopping, get back home. Pops is in the driveway and all. And I'm like, oh, didn't you try the door? And what he said was that, like, he went inside and Vader and Leia, who love him to death, got so excited. And when Vader gets excited in this house, he's a huge jumper. Like, when he goes out, when I bring him over to their house, anything like that, he'll be excited, but he doesn't do jumping. For some reason in the household, he gets so excited, he'll just jump up. He's got his claws, and he just won't stop because he's just so excited to love you. And he's like, I tried to go inside. Vader was so excited and couldn't contain himself. He kept on jumping on me, and I had to just walk out of the kitchen and go back to the car because he was scratching me up.
I do get that though. Like sometimes that can be overwhelming. Like when a dog like jumps a lot, I'm like, yeah, like especially if you're the target, like you walk in and the dog, like my brother's dog, like just I'm always the target, and he's like this skinny kind of athletic dog that runs 100 miles an hour before he jumps, so he hits you like a, it's like getting stunned real quick, like taking a jab. And I'm like, calm down. And he's got the nails, and sometimes they get you in the wrong spot. You're like, ow, ow, ow. All right, buddy. So I do get that. Yeah.
Yeah. And my dad takes meds, so he can easily bleed and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with it. He wasn't mad at the dog or us or anything. It was just he needed somebody in there so we can calm down Vader. And then once he's calmed down, then he's a regular dog. So I forget why me and the wife were in the bed, and remembered. No.
What?
I thought you said no. It's like, no, my dad and my dog were not involved with anything romantic while I was in bed with my wife. So
okay.
Remove that from your thought process there. But in any case,
I didn't say anything. I just made
I thought you said no. That's why I jumped right in there.
I said, oh.
Yeah. But we rethought about that story and all, and I just decided to go in the pop. Oh, I had to get out of the household, and that dog of yours will give me too much loving. So Izzy just starts cracking up, and she's like, that sounds like a great song, Too Much Loving, and all. And I'm like, what? With that voice, I can hear like a 70s kind of song.
I'm
like
feeling you.
That's like a great hook, and like just like on the spot, I'm like, you're such a sweet boy, but then you started jumping. I want to stick around, but there's so much loving.
Yeah. This is like, it's not much different on the podcast. We love it and we laugh, and then you take it into directions that you're like, okay, now we have a song. Okay, now we think I'm a god. It started with just like little jokes about yourself. Now we have games based off of you. No.
Well, to continue with, so we're laughing about that. So later on that night, I'm trying to go to sleep, and I guess I didn't take the dogs out. And Leia comes up to me, and her kind of sign to me is, "Hey, I got to go out, Daddy." Is she'll just start kissing my face, just that's her way of saying, "Daddy, I got to go out." And I immediately go, "Got to go out." We go out, and
it's a really sweet moment when your dog's that take a dump, and her sign is licking your face.
Yeah. So like, I came back in, and like Izzy's like, "Oh, you took him out?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She came up to me, gave me kisses, and gave me the sign she had to go out. So we went out, and then I sat down, and then I thought for a second. I'm like, I try to go to sleep, but the kisses keep a coming. I appreciate you, baby, but there's too much loving.
See,
So we got a second verse.
I know how this goes because as much as I make fun of you, this is the type of thing I do all the time. Like there'll be a joke on the cast and I'll text about it with you for like an hour and a half later afterwards. A perfect example. I'm doing the polar plunges this Saturday. If anybody wants to do it, and actually, no, it's probably too late now, but anyway, donate to the Special Olympics. But we're on a big text thread with my cousins and who does it. And my cousin, she's always been like the one like we make fun of and like just like joke with her constantly and get her going and stuff like that. And we like people are like, oh, let's tailgate. Like who's bringing what? One person's like, I'm bringing sausage, and the other person's like, oh, I'm doing a sausage bake. And they're like, is that too much sausage? And then my cousin responded, there's never enough sausage and biscuit. So this turned into like a what'd you say? And she's like, oh crap. So then I was AIing her into like, I took her Facebook photos and put sausages behind her with like quotes and said, there's never enough sausage. Then I made one that was like Amy Kate's Meat Shack, and it said there's never enough sausage on the bottom of it. And I beat this joke into death.
The ground,
okay?
yeah.
Like today, I text everyone. I was like, "Hey, what time are we linking up?" All the sausage buns. Yeah. So I get what.
Yeah. So it's a beautiful thing. But now I'm like, now I got to make a body for this song. I got like 2 hooks already. I can't just leave this thing
you
be.
Need a chorus.
So now
you need a chorus.
I got to come up with like a whole story. And I just imagine some Southern man just going out with all these girls trying to go home with him, and he's just, no, lady, there's too much loving. Just something like that. And also,
you know where this is leading, right?
What's up?
You're gonna have to record the song.
Yeah, for 628. Yep.
No. You're putting this. We're getting the song recorded. So,
I mean, like just on the hooks alone, my wife just looked at me. She's like, you could actually record that, and it might sound pretty good. Right?
Oh, I can get this done for you. All you got to do is lay down the vocals, and we can make that happen. Maybe we'll record it. Maybe we'll record it on the Christmas episode where you come, to us, which we're hopefully going to make happen next year. Anyway,
Big Wild Hanks. It's McCarroll's. Santa giving you too much loving.
Now, could you do a whole episode in that voice easier than you did Berluz Ferratu? Or
I could probably do it because I'm not trying to go for the lower throat on this. It's just like an accent kind of thing.
I don't like how you just said lower throat and just go the bottom of your throat at me.
Yeah. And I'm doing GP3s.
I don't like it.
Right here.
You just did
caressing it.
Yeah,
I had to rub it after Berluz Ferratu, and I'll make it feel better.
Okay, please stop. Okay, so you might as well give us I guess you have a chorus there.
No, I don't have any.
Oh, you don't have. I thought you said I thought you were gonna drop it on us now.
No. I just have an idea of the body, but I got to visualize and write it out and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it's not tonight.
You can't rush an artist. We got to let that stew and cook and whatnot.
Unless you give him a deadline, and then I'm cook. Like, I mean, you can't rush me unless you give me a deadline that's like 18 weeks away, and then 16 weeks later, I'm like, oh crap. And then I realize I better rush this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, Berlu, who we got tonight? Time to get this episode moving here.
Well, Scott, the All American Rejects are set to put out a new album for the first time in 14 years when Sandbox comes out this May. Everybody knows them from their big hits, Swing Swing, Dirty Little Secret, It Ends Tonight. And tonight, we get to chat with their guitarist, Nickolas Wheeler. We'll be talking about the hits, the tours, and all life of being an All-American Reject.
Let's get Nick on the line.
How about now?
There we go.
Hey, I figured it out.
Yay, accomplishment today.
Yeah,
Nick, I'm I'm Mike. That's Scott. Welcome to the show, good sir.
Nice to meet you guys. Thanks for reaching out and for having me.
Oh, absolute pleasure. No, been doing this since '99, the music thing and all.
Oh, I was like,
Not
shit,
me.
we had podcasts back in 1990.
Well, we
it feels like it sometimes.
Yeah. We're carrying the same tread, so. So, playing this long, out of curiosity, are you more astonished about the maturity that you had at a young age to get to here, or are you more astonished by the maturity you have now being a quote-unquote adult?
Diving right in, aren't we? Yeah, like you said, I've been doing this since the late 1900s, as the kids say these days. There definitely was no maturity when I started doing this. I would not attribute any success to an early maturity or maturity at a young age. And then I did it through literally all of my 20s. So did not advance or mature during that time. When I turned 30, that was the time that, you know, we didn't like full on take a hiatus for 10 years, but we certainly turned off a lot of the engines and slowed down quite a bit. And that's when we all, did things like, I started going to therapy. I started, doing all the things that were either fixing the previous 10 years or just finally being an adult.
Do you think that like that hiatus and taking time and having the time to kind of reflect on things has kind of reinvigorated you guys? Because like it seems like you guys are having an absolute blast and doing whatever you want, which I'll get into your backyard shows in a little bit. But I mean, that's gotta feel amazing to be able to come back to it like an old friend,
It does, and I think that's what we were waiting to feel called back to it, or to just to want to do it again. The whole reason we kind of just, stopped is because we were fucking burned out. It wasn't fun anymore.
Sure.
And true, it became what we did for a living. And, we don't always like our jobs every day. And some days felt more like a job than others, and that's fine. But we were genuinely just fucking burned out. We made 4 albums for major labels and in the 2000s, and so that looked like literally writing a record for a year, recording a record for a year, and then touring it for 1.5 maybe 2 years each time. And then as soon as we got off the road, we would go right back to it and start the cycle all over again. We did that 4 times, and it was the 5th time we were about to do it. And Tyson, our singer, and I were just like, hey, you want to not?
That's simple.
Yeah. And I was like, God, then like thank you for saying that. Like, I don't want to do this right now. And that left, that allowed time and space for us to kind of each explore, personal lives and other, professional ventures, and keeping the lights on in the band by playing shows occasionally. When we did a couple tours, like in the, what are we calling it, the late 2010s?
Yeah, I don't know what to call it.
We're already in the late 2020s. This is insane. A couple tours, like opening for other acts. Like we did like a tour with Blink-182 one summer, and that was fun. But they're like little spurts here and there that, it reminded us, kind of, that there's this thing that we've done and that we get to do. But yeah, we never really, fired it back up until like 2023, really.
You kind of brought up something I was going to bring up later in the interview, but I think is the ample opportunity as you talk about the 2010s and all that. It's kind of funny because like we have all these shows that celebrate the 80s. We've had a few that celebrate the 90s. I don't feel we've really had truly like a real nostalgic thank you to the 2000s. Do you kind of feel, Jip, since that's where most of your career is, you feel like there should be a Netflix show that be asking for my music right now?
See, I actually had a question I was going to ask him later that I actually believe we are seeing the research, the boom of we're getting the treat of our pop punk and our emo and our heavy bands. We're seeing like this little post-COVID world we're seeing now. Like I feel like everybody is very nostalgic but so I think, Mike, I think we're there. I think we're living in that thank you right now.
No, I disagree. And maybe we should ask our guest.
No, keep going. I saw a meme the other day. It was like, I'm offended that the 2000s is now an acceptable party theme.
Oh yeah.
Because we all grew up. I don't know how old you guys are, but I grew up. I wouldn't say I grew up in the 80s, but I lived through most of the 80s. I grew up in the 90s, but
same. Yep.
I mean, I was there. Like, I know what the 80s. Well, I know what my version of the 80s was. I was 8 when they were over, but
I was 6 when they're over. So,
yeah,
so
okay.
kind of same.
I was in my teens. So
yeah, Mike was 29 when they were over. So.
Oh damn!
No. 14 when it ended. Thank you.
But yeah, it was actually playing a festival that was kind of devoted to, honoring. We never really felt like we were part of a scene. We were just a band that kind of came up around all these other bands that were, getting played on the radio or whatever. And there was a festival dedicated to that whole thing, and I want to say it was late 2022. We didn't it was one of those things, like the lineup was so insane with like all these bands. Some of them, were getting back together just to play the show. And we were like, this isn't real. This isn't actually going to happen. Like, we're going to show up and like, everybody's going to be like, ha, fooled you guys. Show's not real. But no, we showed up and all these other bands were there, some that we'd, played with before and hadn't seen in a long time. And then all the fans showed up too. And there was, it was huge. It was in Vegas, and there were just, tens of thousands of people, and they stayed to watch us play. Like, I think we were playing at the same time as like Avril Lavigne or something.
Mm-hmm.
And our crowd was fucking huge. We're like, are they at the wrong stage? Like, what? Do they think they're about to see Avril? And we took the piss out of it too. Like, it was in Vegas, so we all dressed up like Elvis. Like, we're just having fun with it. Like, this was going to be just another one-off show that, just like all the others we had been playing for the, last decade. But it felt like the first show we'd played for like actual real fans in a while. And that was a wake-up call. I mean, it was like, oh wow, like this isn't just something to take the piss out of. Like, what we did is still important to some people, and it's still important to us. We just we're trying to take ourselves too seriously, I guess. And that was kind of the wake up call. Like, okay, like what if we went and played more shows for like actual fans, not people who were just showing up at the state fair or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that was 2023 when we did that tour, and it was fucking epic. It was amazing. And yeah, I think some of it is maybe some nostalgia from the 2000s. A lot of our fans are the same fans that were coming to shows, and going to Warped Tour and stuff.
Yep.
And yeah, I think a lot of it is also the post-COVID thing. I think now we're kind of seeing a stall to that with, the way ticket prices are and stuff. But yeah, it's crazy to think that like, it's not just like fans that have been listening to us for 20 years. It's like kids who are finding us for the first time too. I think as much as I loved growing up on tapes and CDs, and I love this resurgence of vinyl records, I think what streaming has brought us is like kids who are finding our band, finding tons of artists, not realizing that maybe these bands are 20 years old. Maybe they're not even together anymore. Maybe some of these people are dead. I don't know.
The freaking Deftones are bigger than they've ever been. And they're like trending on TikTok. I'm like, I was listening to Deftones in 8th grade, man. Like, it's amazing. Like,
well, it's made music timeless. Like, I remember as a kid, like flipping over a CD and being like, oh, this came out 10 years ago. It's old. You know what I mean? And like, immediately judging it before even hearing it. So there's something timeless and pure about, the way kids are listening to music, the way we're all listening to music nowadays, but the way like younger kids and younger generations are finding bands and finding us, finding music. It's pretty cool.
Now, I've read interviews with you and describe like how you're very much a gearhead and very technical and very. I'm curious
well,
if
I try to be.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm curious. Like, has time scratched that itch for you, or is it still just like for example, I was in a band with a guy in high school and he was the gear guy in the band. Yeah. We still go over, we haven't been in a band together in 20 years. We still go over his house and the guitars are filling up the room and the heads and like he just can't stop. I'm curious, like
it is an addiction. And yeah. If it wasn't gear, like music gear, it's kind of transferred into other areas. Like I'm a coffee nerd, so I've got all kinds of coffee gear. I travel with coffee gear. I'm usually just like pure, like hand poured black coffee. Like I'm a purist with that. But I did just get my first espresso machine, and that has opened a floodgate of more gear. Yeah. So I do think it's an addiction. I think it's it's a type of personality. Sure. And I definitely have that. I don't necessarily know how to use all of it, but I need to have all of it.
Now, when you guys go into the studio and whatnot, is that really hard to have you in the room as far as like ideas and let's try this head with this speaker and this, like, because that can be exhausting too, but it could also be magical. It
can be, and it can certainly stall creativity and momentum.
Right.
What's been fun, we literally actually this week are finishing our first full-length album.
Oh, cool.
14 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we started this process about 1.5 years ago, just recording some new music and finding our voice in new music, if you will. You know, Tyson lyrically, and us as a band musically, like what do we want to say? And there was a lot of trial and error and experimentation. And then we kind of found that voice, and whether, for me, it was, okay, I know exactly what works with this record, and it was a couple specific guitars, a couple specific amps, and I mean, I am the guy who's like, ooh, I have an idea, and I'll go into the other room and come back with just armloads of pedals and just plug them all in and just try shit. But me and I have a studio at my house in Nashville. My engineer there, Herbie, we kind of developed this like just language between each other. Like we know what we want to try, we know what works, we know what doesn't work immediately. And so yes, while it maybe was slow starting this process, and a lot of experimentation and a lot of second guessing and recording things over and over and being like, that's almost it, but let's change everything. You know what I mean? Yep. Just going back and redoing it. Once we kind of found the roadmap for this particular record, it was almost easy. It was like and quick and efficient, and it left room for additional spontaneity and additional experimentation, because those big tent poles, like we know it's this amp, we know it's this guitar, we know this is the part.
Nice.
Now let's have some fun with this new toy that I bought because I saw it on Instagram. You know what I mean?
And the new album is Sandbox, right?
It is, yeah. We put out a song called Sandbox last April. It was the first song, the first single, and it just kind of it just felt like the theme of the record, so it became the title of the record. And yeah, we're literally mastering on Friday. So
awesome,
down to the wire, trying to make that May 15th release date.
So as we talk about the new album, let's go back to the beginning.
Yeah, man.
You send in a 5-song demo, gets picked up. Somebody listens to it. Yep, let's sign you to a record. Kind of talk about those first steps of kind of meaning, hey, that's the only 5 songs we got, and kind of growing to add to the band to become who you were.
Now what do we do? Yeah.
I mean, they always say you have your whole life to write your first album, but we really didn't. We had a semester. because we were so young. That's how we marked time, was by semesters. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty old school. I mean, it was before MySpace. It was before bands were getting discovered online. I had a massive CD collection. So what I did is I took these demos that Tyson and I had recorded in my bedroom, burned them on CDs, printed a little booklet with a picture of us and the song titles or whatever, and stuffed them in envelopes and flipped all my CDs that I already owned, flipped all those over because you could find the address for the record label on the back of the CD. Literally just filled them, every record label that I had, that I could find on the backs of those CDs. I just filled them out. And I had a bunch of Get Up Kids CDs. So I had the address to Doghouse Records in Toledo, Ohio. And it may surprise you to hear, but people do not listen to unsolicited demos sent through the mail. They usually go straight into the trash. So
of course.
I told you that didn't work, Scott. That's why we're still here on the podcast.
We burn CDs of our episodes and send them to you. It's just not
Hell
working.
yeah.
Screw those Apple Tunes.
Those Apple Tunes. Most of those probably didn't even make it past the reception desk. But somehow somebody at Doghouse Records actually opened it and actually listened to it. They flew to Tulsa. They saw us play at a little club there called Curly's. They took us out to eat at the old Spaghetti Warehouse. And, they pretty much, I'd say signed us on the spot. They voiced their interest in working together on our band. And they were like, so what are the, do you have the other songs? What, they came and saw, we played the 5 songs that we wrote and a bunch of covers. And they were like, what, we want to make a record. So what about the other songs? They're like, we don't have them yet. We haven't written them yet. So they're like, okay, well, go write some songs and then we'll make a record. And I mean, that's pretty fucking ballsy. We didn't even have Swing Swing, the last song, My Paper Heart, Time Sent, all the songs that we ended up making videos for didn't even have a single one of those.
Wow.
All these 5 songs that they heard, they did make the record, but I think maybe One More Sad Song was the only one. I think that was the one they heard. Like, okay, these guys got something. So that was over the summer. And so we went, back to Stillwater where we grew up. I had already graduated and dropped out of college at this point. Tyson was a couple years younger than me. So he had to, do his senior year of high school. So he was able to graduate early after only one semester. He graduated at Christmas. And then we got in a van and drove to New York and made our first record. But
that's wild.
To get to that point, he had to come over, almost every day after school. And, like I said, I dropped out of college. So I was sleeping until noon and, kind of just farting around until he got off school at 3, came over, and we would write and record these demos. And that's where we came up with the rest of the record. And I think we did maybe a song a month for the next 6 months. Yeah. And there were no B-sides. There were nothing was on the cutting room floor. The 11 songs that we had to our name went on that first record. And there's probably a song or two that we wish wasn't on that record at this point, but
of course,
but it's all we had. So,
I just love the idea of him coming over after school, you guys writing a smash hit, and then him having to go finish his homework.
That's literally what it was. We were 17 and 19 years old.
That's incredible. Now I want to go back into we're bouncing all over here, but I want to go into this house tour, man. This is such a cool thing to see. Just if people don't know, you guys went out and played in people's backyards and parties and whatnot. Very old school, and we've seen many people copy it since. But I'm curious, I'm curious how this idea came about, and I mean, it's got to be awesome once it's set up, but I imagine like getting this set up and doing this has to be quite a little song and dance to make this happen too.
I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot that goes into it to keep it secret because we don't announce the shows until the day of.
Right.
And a lot of times we don't even know what the venue is until the day of. On what became a house party tour, there was one day we showed up at this house and it was just a death trap. Like I don't even know. Like we're gonna get electrocuted just plugging in here. One and two, like people are gonna die. So like we had like it was not gonna work. So we had to scramble and find another venue, and that was in Minneapolis, and I think a bowling alley stepped up, and when they were they were like,
go ahead,
come set the stage up on the lanes. So but yeah, I mean the idea came. It was just kind of a, I don't know. Like I said, the whole reason we're doing this again is because we felt called back to do it, and it was fun again for the first time in a long time.
Sure.
And so what started as just a fun way to promote new music, just like, hey, let's go play like people's backyards and house parties and stuff. Because where I grew up in Stillwater, Oklahoma, there weren't really any venues. It's a college town, so there were bars that you could play. But when you're 17 and 19 and even younger, like you're not gonna go play at bars every night.
Right.
You got homework. It's a school night.
Unless you had the permission slip from your parents, as you've told in different podcasts.
That is true. Yeah, that actually is true. So we could play our one night a month at Mike's college bar.
Nice.
We did have the permission slips, but I mean, we had to put on our own shows, basically, if we wanted to, play to our peers. So that's kind of what this was, or what it started as. And we did a couple of these around the Los Angeles area, and people were vibing, like they were really into it, and they were talking about it online, and people were like, oh my god, this must be what it's like going to shows in the 2010s. And I'm like, what? Wrong century, kid. But yeah, and so there was this idea. I remember Tyson called me and was like, hey, what would you think about doing more of these and like doing like a proper like house party tour? And I'm like,
that's awesome.
That sounds scary. I was like, I don't know. Like that sounds stressful and expensive, and I don't know if that's going to be anything anybody cares about. But as we learned, showing up at that festival back in Vegas in 2022, and then doing a headlining tour after that ended up being the biggest tour of our career after 20 years. We just rolled the dice and did it. And yeah, it was stressful, and it became bigger than us, and it became this mission statement for our band and for this record. And we're coming on a year of having done that tour, and talking about doing a few more, just to kind of a little victory lap, like look what we did. Like couldn't have imagined.
Is there one in that run that stands out as like the craziest, or like, oh my god, this is getting shut down soon? Or
well, I mean which one? The bowling alley?
Yep.
the one that did get shut down by the cops. But then when they learned who we are, they were like, okay, you can play one.
All right.
Or the one where it was in a cornfield and 5,000 people showed up.
Oh my god!
Nice.
They were all insane for specific different reasons. It was it's not repeatable. I think it's a really great how would you say format to mount a show. And I think in the days where young artists are just trying to promote themselves on TikTok, I think doing something like this would be incalculable for a young artist, for the experience, and just putting on shows and in this fashion would be amazing. But what I think the experience we had was just something that, like I said, it just got bigger than us, and we couldn't recreate that if we tried. Each day got bigger and scarier, and it's like, oh shit, maybe we need security. Oh shit, maybe we need porta pots. Like every day was like a new learning experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now you say you can't recreate it, so did you guys yell at Jimmy Eat World when they performed at Arby's in Florida? Jimmy, gonna eat my fist if you don't stop doing that.
You know, I think it is one of those things, you see it and you're like, hey.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're like, that's fucking cool. Like I'm glad people are having these experiences. I'm glad people noticed and are wanting to participate. It's pretty cool, especially, like I said, now with, ticket prices being totally unapproachable to the majority of, music fans. I don't know. It's like I said, we grew up putting on our own shows like this, and to kind of be able to start the machine back up and literally do it the exact same way that we used to is a great reminder for us, and it's been a lot of fun.
You brought up your studio, Wheelhouse Studio in Tennessee. Can you kind of tell us about some of the acts you perform with, what you look for in talent, how you help them out, and so forth when they come in?
Yeah, I mean, what started as an obsession, as a gear collection, eventually turned into being like, oh shit, like I can't just have a bedroom studio.
I could hide my gear here. Yes.
I had an opportunity to move to my favorite neighborhood in Nashville and build a studio in my backyard. And that was during COVID, and it became a whole thing. Because I started it before COVID, then COVID happened, and then lumber prices hiked.
I was to say, getting anything,
couldn't get anybody to work because, anyway, all that aside, finally got the studio finished. I'd been living in Nashville for 5 or 6 years at this point, and I was working with other artists, lots of local artists, lots of younger bands who just love coming through Nashville because it's a fun town, and it's not New York or LA. It's in the middle, and it's a little more approachable and reachable. So yeah, I just kind of buried myself in working with acts that I was excited about. A lot of them, like I said, were independent artists and just passion projects, but it was a crash course in learning. I've gotten to work with a lot of great producers, a lot of great engineers. I've been in amazing studios. Got to make a handful of records for major labels with budgets back when there were budgets for that stuff. And I saw a lot. I just wish I would have retained more of what I saw and actually learned. So this is what that was me just actually taking all these experiences I've had and I guess making up for lost time and being like, maybe I should learn microphone names and what they all do. But it was a lot of fun, and it's not something. It wasn't just an era. It's something that I love and I'm passionate about, and I hope to make more records for other artists in the future. The last couple of years, it's informed how to do it, with and for my band, and that's been incredible. Especially nowadays we're an independent band, so there's no label, there's nobody paying the bills. A lot of this we're doing ourselves. Tyson is recording his vocals himself. I'm recording a lot of the rest of it myself. And our old keyboard player, Scott, is, helping us produce it. And he's doing a lot himself in his home studio in Austin. And so it's been amazing to have these resources to, put out something that we're proud of, that isn't just the bedroom demos that I was doing back in, high school or that year of college I didn't go to.
Yeah. So 20 something years later, what's the difference now getting ready to play live? Do we got a different stretching routine? Is it night after night as we're going through this crazy tour? Like, is there a lot more attention to like self-care and mental health to be able to do this stuff?
I have insoles. Not willing to trade the Converse in for fucking On Clouds or whatever all those other guys are wearing. Making those Converse work every night.
Just picture you throwing your insoles to the crowd and them going wild for it. Yeah.
No, I mean, there's definitely things I'm prioritized more now that I just didn't care about back then, like prioritizing sleep. I mean, granted, when I was touring in my 20s, I would sleep till fucking 4 in the afternoon. So I was getting sleep. I just wasn't prioritizing it, but I'm prioritizing
different type of sleep. Yeah.
Yep. Prioritizing things like, just my body in general, just working out and moving and stretching. This is a non-alcoholic old fashioned right here.
Wow. Okay. So it's just juice. No,
it's these, it's this, I can't do that. And I can't do the shit that's supposed to it's just fake bourbon. Can't do that shit. It just tastes like fucking garbage.
Yeah.
These are these little canned old fashions from Little Saints.
Okay.
Pretty cool brand. I don't get free shit from them or anything. They're just one of the few that I've found that are actually satisfying.
That's cool.
But yeah, I mean, back then, shit. If we were, especially if it was the headlining tour and we weren't going on to like 9 or 10, like I would have had a 6-pack of whatever IPA before we even played. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think Tyson was like a bottle of wine deep every night before we even went on stage, just because we're fucking bored. Yeah, and like we're young, we have access to pretty much whatever we want. So yeah, it's a lot different.
Who do you think was the easiest to bring into the band and the hardest to get them into the band of the non-originals of you and Tyson?
Well, of the original of the 4 of us, it's the original 4-piece. Okay. But we the 4 of us are on every record since Move Along. That was our second record. But like I said, our first record, Tyson and I got signed and we recorded that record, just the 2 of us. And so it took us a minute to find the 4 of us. And it was through touring and playing shows to promote that first record that we did that. We met Mike and Chris. They were playing for another band in Oklahoma. And back at this Mike's College bar where we had the permission slips, we still might have needed the permission slips at this point. When that record come out, 2002? Yeah, I was only 20. So yeah, we were playing at Mike's College bar with our permission slips, and that's where we met Mike. And then I think his band needed a fill-in drummer for something, and that's where we met Chris. He was the fill-in drummer for Mike's band. And like just the way he showed up, and you wouldn't even know it was his first show with them. Like, okay, we need that guy too. So we ended up stealing the both of them. But before we got there, we had a couple guys playing drums. One guy I was in bands with, ska bands with, because remember the late 1900s.
Oh, of course, everybody had to try a ska band.
Yeah. Oh, I had multiple ska bands simultaneously.
Give us one of your ska band names that you're like, oh boy, there's got to be a good one.
Inspector 15.
There's a number. There's got to be a number in there.
Yes.
I think Drowning Fish was another one.
Okay.
Yeah, there were lots of upstrokes, lots of upbeats. But yeah, this kid I grew up with and was played in bands with throughout junior high and high school. He came and helped us play a few shows one summer. But yeah, once we got the core 4, that was it. Like this is the thing. Like,
yeah,
can't fuck this up. Like, can't change this. I think there was a lot of I think there was a lot of moving parts to getting Chris. But when we finally got him, we're like, yes, we got him.
Got our guy.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, we can't thank you enough for your time and all. We love your music. We love your
Thank you.
stories. Been a great laid back interview. Really appreciate it. So,
Likewise.
if people want to check you out, I know you talked about Sandbox coming out this year. You
Yep,
did
May 15th.
May 15th.
Soon. It's
You
right
had
around the
a
corner.
album with Buzzkill that came out this year in February as well.
Yeah, that was a really fun project. And there's more songs coming with that one too. Yeah, this kid Tate, he was in a pop punk band a few years ago called Happy. I worked with that band a little bit, and he and I kept in touch. And he was like, "Hey man, like I got this handful of songs that I just really wouldn't need to get out." And we finally figured out the right formula to get them to Nashville. We just spent, a week or two just hunkered down in the studio, finished these songs, and, he's finally putting them out. And yeah, I want to say we did that like 2023 maybe. But they're a lot of fun, and he's a great hang, great to work with. And he's doing something really cool with this. He's got the artist name Buzzkill, and he's a big horror movie buff. So it's got a really fun but like dark theme to it. So those will be fun to trickle out.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So if people want to know what you're up to, the All American Rejects, any other projects, where are the best places to go?
I've only learned how to use Instagram, so I'm on there. Anything I do, music-wise, coffee-wise, gear-wise, whatever. I'm on Instagram, Nickolas Wheeler, as well as Wheelhouse Studio Nashville.
What's the next thing you're gonna dive into after coffee? Do you have your eyes set on something?
Oh man, well, like I said, I've gotten into not just the NA cocktail of it all, but the adaptogen of it all.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious to explore that more. These have lion's mane in them. And I found another great one that's great before bed. It's got ashwagandha and CBD and shit in it. So that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm not just sucking down juice because I need something in my hand.
Right.
That's something that I'm probably going to nerd out on. And with that, like I usually don't just pop open a can. Like I really love to like craft, like concoct things, mix things. So I'll figure out how to make satisfying cocktails that won't make me regret everything the next day.
I love it. 20 years later, we're talking to you and you're researching. It's like I feel like you guys got another 20 years in you, man. I feel like we could be talking about the 2020s in our next interview.
I hope so. If we're all still around, then.
Final question for me. When you stole CKY's beer, was it good beer, or did you have to spike drink Bud Light?
Fucking Budweiser, man. At least I think it was full flavored Bud, at least.
Bud heavy? All right.
Yeah. Man, I love it. You guys did some digging. You found you found some jewels in there.
Nick, thank you so much. Good luck with the albums, the tour. So love to have you back on someday. It's been an honor chatting with you, my friend.
Thanks,
likewise. Nick. Y'all have a good one.
Nick Wheeler of the All American Rejects. I know what your favorite All American Rejects song is.
Do tell, Scott. Do tell.
It has to be It Ends Tonight. That had to be the one that you really probably identified with.
Are you making a murder joke by any chance, Scott?
I just feel like you would identify with the title. It Ends Tonight.
I mean, I keep going, baby. I never think about anything ending in my realm. And if it's good, I say you don't stop. That I asked them to do that song, but I guess they had a better beat with It Ends Tonight.
Yeah. Sounds like something I could see you saying, It Ends Tonight. In some all right. Do It Ends Tonight in your dad's Southern voice. Go.
When darkness turns to light, it ends tonight. It ends tonight.
Right.
Just another hey.
Do It Ends Tonight in a creepy horror type voice. Oh, I can't hear you. Okay. Yeah. Do It Ends Tonight in as if you were a character on Seinfeld.
What's the deal with tonight? We go into the night, and then it turns into morning. The darkness turns to light, and ends tonight.
Do It Ends Tonight as a cartoon dog.
Hey, everybody. When darkness turns to light, it ain't tonight. It ends tonight.
Beautiful, perfect. But yeah, Nick, Nick, a fantastic interview. I like that we didn't even like outro the interview before getting really stupid. So
yeah. When stupidity waits, it does no good to anybody. So.
Yeah. All right, Mike, I got a little game for you today. I got a little game.
You've been full of games as of late.
Dude, I've been game master lately. A lot of games. Don't know if we'll see. But it's the game is very simplistic. It's not. There's no raft. There's no different rounds or whatnot. Mike, the name of the game is American Rejects. Okay? American Rejects. Now, what I'm going to read to you are things that were rejected or bad ad campaigns or a bad product that these American companies have done over time. Okay. I'm going to read you 4. You have to pick the one that is not real. Okay. And there's 6 of these. So let's say to win, you have to go 4 for 6, right? You got to go over 500.
Okay. All right. Very doable.
Yep. So here we go. American Rejects. All right. So we have Colgate frozen dinners, Mike. Colgate frozen dinners. In the early 80s, the toothpaste giant tried to pivot to Colgate kitchen entrees. Consumers couldn't get past the association with minty toothpaste, and the brand was rejected before it could leave the freezer aisle. Would you try Colgate frozen dinners, Mike?
I mean, I feel Salisbury steak shoved into your mouth would cleanse it properly, and you don't need to use toothpaste.
I thought you were about to be like, oh, I remember when me and Gonzo, we would eat our Colgate frozen.
He'd be snapping at me and be like, stop it. You're going to get your TV dinner soon enough, Gonzo.
You're gonna get your Colgate treat, as we call it, All right. All right. Maybe we won't have 6 of these, but all right. There's a lot to get through here. Vegetable flavored Jello. Flavored Jello. In the 60s, Jello released salad flavors like celery, seasoned tomato, and Italian salad. It was a bridge too far for dessert-loving Americans. Okay. Toaster eggs. Downy Flakes attempt to do for eggs what Pop-Tarts did for pastries. They were pre-cooked, frozen egg discs that you popped in your toaster. They were messy, rubbery, and quickly rejected. So toaster eggs, Mike.
All right.
And finally, the Autodyne steering wheel. Okay, the Autodyne steering wheel, released by a minor Detroit parts manufacturer. This was a porcelain-coated metal tray that bolted directly to the center of the steering wheel. It was marketed to the busy man on the go so he could eat a full steak dinner while driving. It was discontinued after the first 3 recorded fender benders. So, Mike, Colgate frozen dinners, vegetable-flavored Jello, toaster eggs, or the Autodyne steering wheel?
I'm going to go with toaster eggs.
Toaster eggs. Mike, as much as you wish toaster eggs were not a thing, they were. The Autodyne steering wheel tray was not a real thing. They did not make a tray that you could drive 70 and eat a steak yet, but Burlow's Investment Corp could be the ones to bring it back.
Well, if you think about it, if you get in a car accident, you're getting that steak in your stomach way faster than if you put it through your mouth.
Oh, so it's almost like a diet. Car accident
for the man on the move.
All right, Mike, you're 0 for 1. You're 0 for 1, but we can come back here.
Yes, we can.
All right, here we go. Touch of yogurt shampoo. Clairol's 1970s disaster, not only did people not want to put yogurt in their hair, but there were multiple reports of people glistening, eating it, and getting sick. Touch of yogurt shampoo.
Okay.
Glister's Canned Toast. A startup in Ohio patented a process to flash sear bread and vacuum seal it in a pull-top tin to preserve the crunch of the morning. Upon opening, the toast was famously soggy, smelling faintly of metallic yeast. It lasted about 4 months before the factory was converted into a tennis ball plant. Okay.
All right.
And so you got canned toast, you got yogurt shampoo, ready bacon, real bacon that you cooked in your toaster inside a foil packet. The grease tended to leak and start fires, leading to a swift exit from the market.
All right.
And breakfast mates, a 1998 Kellogg's invention that packaged cereal, a spoon, and a container of shelf-stable warm milk together. Kids hated the warm milk, and parents hated the price of the product. Mike, what do you got? Which one of these was not a real product?
What was the second one again?
Canned toast. Glister's Canned Toast.
I'll go with number 2.
Glister's Canned Toast. Startup that started a flash sear bread and vacuum sealed. Mike, you are correct. You are correct.
Bam.
That is not one, but Mike, any interest in maybe touch of yogurt shampoo for your life?
I just assumed it was yogurt, and I would use it in my cereal if I ran out of regular yogurt.
Michael's hair yogurt.
I mean, look, if you look at conditioners, they're already like strawberries and citrus and all that stuff. So, I mean, I'm just saving some change here and doing the smart thing.
Yeah. All right. The Ave Mazar, the flying Ford Pinto. I don't know if that's Ave or Av Miser, or the Av Miser or the Ave Mizar. We'll go with one of those. Anyway, an actual attempt in 1973 to attach wings and an engine to a Ford Pinto. It failed during a test flight, tragically killing one of its inventors. Okay. Cheetos Lip Balm, Mike. Cheetos Lip Balm. Released in 2005, this allowed you to have the scent and flavor of Cheeto dust on your lips all day without the orange fingers. It was widely mocked and discontinued.
Okay.
The Silent Siren Home Alarm. A high-tech security firm developed an alarm that instead of ringing, broadcasted an ultra-low frequency sonic wave meant to make intruders feel vaguely nauseous and anxious so they would leave voluntarily. It was rejected after homeowners realized it just made dogs howl and it freaked the cats out.
Okay.
And Bengay aspirin. Bengay aspirin. People associated the brand so strongly with burning muscle cream that they couldn't wrap their heads around swallowing a pill with that name, Mike. So we got the Av Miser, Cheetos Lip Balm, Bengay aspirin, or the Silent Siren Home Alarm.
I'm going to go with the Bengay aspirin.
Mike, the Bengay aspirin. Okay. People couldn't get past the Bengay aspirin, but it was a real product that they could not get past, Mike. The Silent Siren Home Alarm was not a product, which is shocking that the Ford Pinto with wings where someone died trying to do that.
Yeah, did you really invent it if you attempted it and it killed you? Like, that's like me saying, I invented this wormhole, and then step in and then obliterating my body. I didn't really invent anything.
Yeah, I want to find the Cheetos Lip Balm from 2005, and whatever next game you lose, you have to wear the lip balm. All right, Mike. All right, you're 1 and 2. We can make a comeback here. All right. Here we go. Twitter Peak. A 2009 handheld device that cost about $200. It only worked for Twitter. It couldn't even display full tweets. It cut them off at around 20 characters. Okay.
All right.
Exxon's fruit fuel additive. In a bizarre marketing attempt to make gas stations smell better, a limited run of summer citrus gasoline was tested in 3 Midwest markets. It made exhaust smell like orange peels, but it turned out the sugars in the scent extracted gum fuel injectors, Mike. Exxon's fruit fuel additive. All right. The Bell Rocket Belt. The Bell Rocket Belt, a 1960s jetpack designed for the Army. It actually worked, but it could only fly for 21 seconds before running out of fuel, making it useless for combat.
Okay.
And the flying saucer camera, developed in the U.S. Air Force in the 50s, it had 2 lenses, one to take a photo and one to analyze light spectrum, specifically to catch UFOs. And Mike never caught a single one on the flying saucer camera.
Okay.
So, Mike, what do you got here? Twitter Peak, the Bell Rocket Belt, flying saucer camera, or Exxon's fruit fuel additive?
I'm going to go with the Twitter.
Mike, if you were cool, you could have had a 2009 handheld device called the Twitter Peak. Okay. The fruit, I can't even say this. Fruit fuel additive was the fake one, Mike. But if your car could smell like something, what would you choose?
I guess like a good leather.
So you're just blasting leather smell throughout the neighborhood.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. You going to tell me you sneak into somebody's car and it's just full of leather that you're going to say no to that? You stick in that car. As
the fuel's burning, the neighborhood, they're going to get their paper in the morning, their cup of coffee, and they're like, smells like leather out there today.
Yeah. It sounds like cow byproduct. Exactly.
Wow. Okay. Leather. You would like to blast to that. I would do like a pine scent. Like I love the smell of pine trees. And if my neighborhood smelled like pine trees all the time, I'd be into that. But yeah, you blast leather into the air. I get it. Okay. Let's continue the game, Mike.
All right.
You're not doing good. You're in trouble.
I noticed that.
You're in trouble.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. The Breezeway solar umbrella, a heavy-duty patio umbrella covered in early-gen solar panels that powered a high-speed industrial fan directly above the table. It was rejected because the fan was so powerful, it would suck napkins, lightweight plates, and small toupees up into its blades, creating what local critics called confetti-based chaos.
So large toupees were fine. It was just the tiny...
The heavy ones, I guess. All right. The egg cuber, a gadget that took perfectly good hard-boiled eggs and squashed it into a cube so it wouldn't roll away on your plate.
Okay. Big problem in my household.
No.
All the floor is just full of hard-boiled eggs because I can't keep them on the plate. It's terrible.
There's just dogs diving after the eggs. There's a cat randomly in there. Yep. All right.
I gotta go back to the store and get another 12-pack of eggs.
Oh lordy, all these eggs are everywhere.
There's too much egging.
All right. A Q cat, a barcode scanner shaped like a cat, wired to your PC, used to scan ads and magazines. It was a massive 2000s failure and was basically a QR code before its time, but much clunkier. Okay. And a robot Readmatic, a 1960s mechanical arm that moved across a page to text to help people read faster. So it went across a page of text. It was bulky, loud, and incredibly distracting, Mike. So we get the Breezeway solar umbrella, the robot Readmatic, QCat, or the egg cuber, Mike.
I will go with the egg cuber.
The egg cuber, Mike. You might get this item for Christmas if I can find it, because it was a real item at some point. The Breezeway solar umbrella, however, was not a real item. No turbo fans in the umbrella that sucked up toupees, Mike.
That's just awful. No, I mean, I would love umbrellas that would just take off and just anything that will, if somebody comes over my house, I can find a way to get them out of my house. That would be the perfect thing to do.
Yeah. Now, Mike, your losing streak continues. You have lost the game. I don't. American Rejects. You now are an American Reject. Okay. Do you want to do one more just for the hell of it?
Hey,
okay,
we're here. Let's do this.
All right, here we go. The Smith & Wesson mountain bike, the famous gun manufacturer, tried to pivot into high-end bicycles. It turns out the overlap between firearm enthusiasts and hardcore cyclists was smaller than they thought.
All right.
Okay. Thirsty Dog bottled water. Imagine if you had this when that cat rolled up. Beef and fish flavored water for pets. Owners realized that dogs are perfectly happy drinking tap water for free. So it was like a boutique water for pets, Mike.
Yeah, well, you just take the beef water and then you put it in your coffee maker and then you get breakfast and the caffeine together.
Mm-hmm. I can see you be like, I've been drinking this product. It's high in protein and it's
beefy coffee is just the way I wake up in the morning.
Mike's beefy coffee now for sale. That again, so when you're at the farmer's market selling your soap that you made out yourself, like try my soap, it's made with my body food.
My spicy wine, my beefy coffee.
And here's my beefy coffee. Okay. Let's get through the Napmaster commuter helmet. The Napmaster commuter helmet, developed by a short-lived tech startup in Connecticut. The Napmaster was a high-density foam helmet designed for suburban commuters to taking the train or bus. It featured a suction cup anchor on the back of the head intended to stick to a window or a seat back so your head wouldn't bob while you slept.
Okay.
And Harley Davidson perfume, Mike. Harley Davidson perfume. The legendary motorcycle brand tried to sell hot road cologne and perfume in the 90s. Even their most diehard fans didn't want to smell like rugged road freedom.
I don't understand why. But I mean, they should have just made it smell like leather, and then everybody would have been like, this is like driving a car.
I was going to say, imagine in Mike's world, the air smells like leather and everyone's wearing Harley Davidson cologne.
What a beautiful world right there.
I never knew you were such an alpha male over there.
Yeah. No. You come up to the diner, order your beefy coffee. It's a perfect world.
Let me get one beefy coffee. Smells like leather in here. But you should smell me. I smell like tires from a Harley Davidson. But Mike, last guess here. Go ahead.
Give me the 4 again.
Harley Davidson perfume, Thirsty Dog bottled water, Smith & Wesson mountain bikes, with a Napmaster commuter helmet.
I'm going with the first one. The
Harley Davidson perfume.
No. You did in the wrong order. The actual first one you said, the mountain bikes.
Smith & Wesson mountain bikes. Mike, again, I'm going to be looking for some of these items for Christmas for you because the famous gun manufacturer tried to pivot into high-end bicycles. Turns out the overlap between firearm enthusiasts and hardcore cyclists was smaller than they thought. The fake one was the Napmaster helmet, which I could see being a product. They already make neck pillows and all these other things. I wish
it happened to you. Have you been on a bus sleeping and realized your neck is falling down?
Yeah.
Well, have we got a treat for you?
I can't sleep on planes or cars anymore. I'm the worst.
Planes, absolutely impossible. Like, as a wife, when she did like one of her music events, like, and we were out to like 2, she's like, "Oh, just go to sleep in the van." I'm like, it's literally impossible. It's just a seat. There's no putting it down and there's like musical equipment in the back. Just impossible. Just give me my bed quick enough.
Yeah, plane. I'm like so jealous. Like even when I went to Germany, like my wife and son slept like almost the entire flight. I caught maybe in the 8-hour flight a half hour of sleep, broken up between like watching a Batman movie and waking up, and terrible.
You think that's terrible? When it went to India on the flight back, like impossible to attempt to sleep. We're in regular coach, so there's no leg room, but I got a little space because like I'm on the end and my feet are a little bit out, but every time I'm like a millisecond away from maybe dozing off, somebody smacks my foot with a cart, and it's just like it's over.
Big guys are just not made for airplanes. I think I always wonder that, like like Shaq, like when they flew planes, like how much room did they give that guy? Because even like luxury planes have to be super tiny for a guy that big.
Well, imagine like the stories they told about Andre the Giant, like getting like 2 seats, and even like that divider doesn't really like go all the way back.
I could use 2 seats on a plane. Easy. Yeah.
Like he was just smushed in there all the time. That's why they say like barely anybody could talk to him, because he was just miserable his entire life. And then being a wrestler, you're literally going from city to city, and then like Japan wants you, and then Europe wants you, and just being miserable 24/7.
Yeah. Yes, life's not good for big guys, Mike. It's not good. We die faster. We can't fit in anything. Yeah, we could see a concert. That's a nice part. That's always a nice, perk to being tall, like being able to see the act if you go to a concert. But other than that, I don't know how many advantages there really are.
Every time you go in the store, it's like, sir, and you just gotta sigh as you know you gotta grab something from the top shelf, because Lord help a 5'6" person, they can grab what they need.
It's all bullshit, because I remember like my aunts and stuff being like, oh, or like random people saying like, oh, you're so tall, the girls must love that. Never once worked. Like I never felt like I was this tall piece of meat that all the women wanted.
Like the women don't like whisper in your ear and like say something like sexy, and you're like, I'm very tall.
Yeah.
Oh, say it again.
Yeah.
I'm not that short.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh Lord. Oh Lord, I'm so tall.
I'm gonna bang you, and then maybe I'll bang my head going out the door. Oh
Lordy, I'm so tall. But yeah, that's it for tonight, guys. That's it. Want to thank Nick Wheeler for coming on the show. Awesome interview tonight. Berlu, anything to promote before we get out of here?
I'm going to promote the book Icons and Instincts. It's written by Vincent Patterson. Maybe you want to remember that name, because possibly you'll hear about him later. But this gentleman was a professional choreographer. He did music videos with some of the biggest names in the business. And when I say biggest, I'm talking about Madonna and Michael Jackson, just to name a couple right there. An incredibly amazing book, not only talking about what he did on stage, but also his life story and items like that. I'm 4 chapters in right now. It's keeping me really entertained. And like I said, I'm not going to spoil anything, but maybe you'll hear that name again sometime down the road.
4 full chapters in? Like those 4 chapters, how much more is than you read in the last 10 years?
I want to say 4 chapters.
Well, since we're doing book club tonight, I'll promote last week's guest, Zane Lamprey. We just got his books in the mail called Glass Half Full, How Optimism and Humor Landed Me the Best Job in the World. We are big supporters of Zane Lamprey. I've always loved this show, regardless of if I ever got to work with him, talk with him. I was a big fan of a couple of the shows. And he's just a really interesting guy. He's a marketing master. And he was a great interview last week. And I think that he was on for the 3rd time last week. So go check out Zane's book, Glass Half Full. I believe it is out now. So if not, it'll be out very, very shortly. So other than that, guys, That's really it. Keep following us. Go check out Pod Radar. Vote for us again. We're everywhere. We got interviews scheduled out the wazoo. So if you don't like us, we have something for you anyway. And that's it. Life is funny. Laugh at it. Keep the wind at your back.
We had a great show and the comedy was something. Come back next week and get some more loving.
I don't know how much longer we can do this, man.